But when we got to Ralph Nader, you simply asked him what?
I asked that brother, what is on your mind?
And here's what he had to say.
The subject is poverty. Obviously, it's a poverty tour. And there's some things people need to know about poverty if they're not impoverished. And one is that half the country is in poverty. The Department of Labor figures are absurd. If you make $24,000 before deductions as a family of four, you're not considered poor by the Department of Labor. If you go to $40,000
right,
with family of four, likely not even having health insurance, you're poor. That's half of the 300 and nearly 20 million people in this country. This is why I call our country an advanced third world nation. By advanced, and let me explain, by advanced, I mean we have the biggest military, technology, and empire in the world. We have the most advanced computerized economy in the world. And we have what might be called the most advanced science in the world. But how about how people live every day? Just think of this. 50 million people, according to the latest statistics, men, women, children, having trouble getting enough food to get through the day. 50 million. This is in a country that produces more agricultural product than any country in the world. Just think of this one. 1 out of every 3 workers in this country makes less than $10.50 an hour before deductions. Just think of this. Wow. 58,000 Americans die from workplace-related diseases. Most of these people are poor or lower income. They have the most dangerous jobs, breathing toxic chemicals at work, taking in particulates that give them lung disease, or working in unsafe workplaces. What's the definition here of safety? The definition is quite clear. If the hazard to Americans comes from so-called stateless terrorists abroad, trillions of dollars will be spent, because that makes big money for the military-industrial complex that was condemned by President Eisenhower in his farewell speech as a fundamental threat to our economy and our liberties. He warned us about the military-industrial complex, Lockheed Martin now, Boeing, Raytheon, for which no weapon systems are enough. It's never enough to have aircraft carriers that we don't need, to have fighter planes that we don't need, to have nuclear subs that we don't need. We've got enough to blow up the world 300 times and make the rubble bounce. Now look at the comparison. This is what empire means. Last year, taxpayers spent $675 million to guard the giant U.S. embassy in Baghdad and its personnel. $675 million. Last year, OSHA was allowed to spend only $550 million, that's the Occupational Safety and Health Agency, to deal with an epidemic of death and disease that totals about 60,000 Americans, workplace-related disease and trauma, not to mention all the sickness and the illness every day. That kind of contrast is what defines empire. We've got soldiers in over 100 countries, hundreds of military bases, no major enemy. The Soviet Union is gone. Communist China is not going to send missiles. They want our jobs and industry, which our companies are obliging them with. So we spend this kind of money. And you know what happens to empires? They neglect their own people because they spend so much money on empire, and eventually they devour themselves. All empires devour themselves.